Well, let's see if this happens, okay? It's Monday morning, the 6th of December, and as usual, I get up and just think about, well, will I check in or not? And so today, I'm checking in, but I'm a bit emotional because when I woke up this morning, we're kind of in a cold, the first real cold snap, I'd say, for Nebraska. Down in the woke up and it was in the 20s this morning, so it's real hard to get out of bed. Woke up thinking about my brother because of the holiday, and I don't always decorate for the holiday, my home. So this morning I went ahead and decided to put out a few ornaments, and then it became emotional thinking about my brother. You know, this is my first Christmas without him, and it brought tears, and wasn't expecting it because grief is not something that you can predict or regulate. We would do well as humans to be more respectful of our emotions and managing them, is what I'd say about that. So just dried my eyes a few minutes ago and thought to myself, well, I had some other cool things to say, so let me just see if I can get them out, okay? So, I'll show some music this morning, but I'm just going to riff, I was talking about earlier in a video that I'm not good at doing best of lists for the year. It's just, it just goes to shit in my head. I'm happy to see that I've made some people's lists, though. Freeform Freakout, which I think is a radio station. I don't know what else it is, but they interviewed me, and then they posted that in a podcast, and then they just put up their list of best records of 2021, and I'm on the list. I love just seeing that, especially when I see who else is on their list. It's like, oh, this is good company. And then a local music personality, Mark Manor, who works at Homer's for, I think, 30 years now. And is kind of a local music personality. I made his top 10 listens list. People have been sharing that Spotify stuff. I don't do Spotify at all. I don't. But people have been sharing their Spotify lists for the year. So I made his, which is kind of nice. That pricked the thought about popular culture, and it just makes me want to say that I haven't said anything about the Beatles Get Back because I don't watch TV. I use the computer. I don't have paid channels, Hulu, Disney, none of that, so I haven't seen it. Am I interested in seeing it? Not really, no. As a kid, when they said that shit about Yoko Ono broke up the Beatles, I just instinctively knew it was a lie. Instinctively knew it. So I don't need to see that. Okay. So coming to music, I had been waiting for a while to do some trading, and there's several record stores in Omaha now, but my main four are Homer's, Recycled, Grapefruit, and Drastic, Plastic. And so for my taste in what I collect, Grapefruit is better for trade. Homer's, which is the longest standing independent record store in the state, really represents the taste of the state, which is very middle of the stream, very, very white. Yeah, I say that a lot. Yeah. There's a reason. Very middle of the road, very safe. And so just the great majority of music they get in that store has no interest to me. Simon Joyner, who runs Grapefruit, is more of a curated selection, and that works for me. So I took a bunch of records down to them to trade, and I won't show everything because I've already put some stuff away. because some things were like I I've been needing a copy of this for my collection. One of those is Jefferson Airplane's Bless Its Pointed Little Head. I've never owned a copy. Finally was able to get one for like $5 in really good shape. Okay, so what did I trade? What did I get that's still sitting out? Because I did put a lot away. Fela, London Sessions. Fela's London Scene. Fela really has loomed larger since his death over the years. This is a nice, I like that. That's nice. And the story of his struggle against the government and corruption. The way the music rhythmically and his voice and what he's saying still resonates very strongly. I love Fela. I also worked in a band with I always forget his name. He's a boogaloo player. It'll come to me in a second here, but this cat knew Fela. He's from the Midwest. No, he's not from the Midwest. He settled here. His name will come to me in a second, but he used to go to Africa and stay with Fela and party with him. And I played in a band with this guy. He had great stories about Fela. Here's one that this is an oddity. Now, when I can still get them at a decent price, I'm still interested in picking up records from my childhood that I couldn't get, that just always I was interested in. You know, the 60s and 70s when psychedelia exploded on the market and the people with the money were just trying to make a buck. For me as a kid, in love with music and records, it was a smorgasbord. It's too bad I didn't have any money, but this is an album I remember. Dreams and Illusions. And what we have here is a perfect example of exploitation. This is a songwriter, Danny Schloss, who scored some kind of deal and made a record, but his singing is atrocious. It's almost like a joke. But he has top-rate session players on here, so the musical backing is really good, and some of the music is imaginative. But his singing is so bad, it's almost like a joke at times. It's like, really? I can just imagine the session players, musicians who played on this, joking among themselves, well, at least we're getting paid. This motherfucker said he can't sing, what the fuck? And I know this happened a lot, because I would hear my dad and other musicians when I was a kid talk about this stuff, working with other people who had money for backing, but no talent. So I'm glad that I got this. I'm glad to hear it. It's a DJ copy. Interesting label, Verb Forecast. But it was like, it was $6. It was well worth the $6. Will I ever play it again? Yeah, I think so. This was an addition to my Hiromi Hosono collection, although I know I won't be listening to it because this is from the period where he's really, really in love with American and Hawaiian music. So this is the thing that he did with Makoto Kubota and the Sunset Gang called Hawaii Champroo. The Japanese take on how they can't say L's. There's no L in shampoo, but still, that's for fun. Hawaii Champroo. And Hosono plays drums on this. He's known as a bass player primarily, but he plays drums on this. It's very Hawaiian, a lot of slide guitar. I won't be playing this, but I definitely wanted it for my Hosono collection. Hosono rates super high for me. Okay, so I've had 2 trips to the store since I've seen you. One at Grapefruit and then one at Homer's, because I haven't seen you since I got the can, so I'll talk about that. But when I got the can at Homer's, I also picked up these reissues by Autechre, LP5. I never had this by them. Autechre is this glitch electronics band. I like that packaging. Isn't that nice? This UK glitch band. I like them, but I have a criticism. Their pieces go on too long. They just repeat and they repeat. They kind of cycle, but they go on too long. Now, I'll make a reference to myself. People say to me they wish that my pieces were longer. But I make the piece. I say what I have to say. it reaches a certain point, then it feels like it's done. I like it I like the fact that some things, it's like, I want to hear it again, as opposed to I want it to be longer. So that's what I do. When I can find a way to make my pieces longer without making them too repetitive or boring, I do. But mostly it's like, it's done. In Autechre, I bought two, because I do like them. But that's my criticism. A lot of these pieces go on too long. Chiastic Slide. I think this is the first thing I heard by them while I was in Japan. And I like this better of the two that I just bought. Okay. I'd never had this, and I love Robert Wyatt. Cuckooland, Robert Wyatt. I also forgot to mention that in talking about Carla Diratz's new album, The Scale, which is on my playlist. This is really good. If you see this, Carla, I love you. This is really good. She got a mention from Robert Wyatt, because she covered a Robert Wyatt track, I believe, and he heard it and gave it a thumbs up in a nice way. Robert Wyatt is just a special artist. Very special, very real. Very real. Here's a band from Belgium who I've never been able to find their original albums, because when I do finally see them ever, they're super expensive. So finally I have now something by the band Cos, however you say it, C-O-S, led by keyboardist Daniel Schell. Other people from the Belgian underground, like Mark Hollander from Oxock Bull, have been involved in this band. This is a double album compilation of tracks from, I think, 3 of their albums. And this is very good, and it's very different. I can see why they didn't quite catch on like some of the other jazz rock progressive bands. The vocals on here are an acquired taste. They're good, but they're wordless, and they're at times kind of weird, okay? I got some good records. Hans Joachim Roedelius. I didn't know about this. Tape Archive S in 73, 78. Bureau B puts out great stuff. I love Cluster and that whole German tangent of fuzzy, frothy music. Cluster harmonia, I love it. What's interesting on here is that at least 2 of these tracks, he uses the blues changes to improvise on. That's the first time I've ever heard one of these guys play the blues or use blues changes to improvise on. Is it bluesy? Hell no. Hell no, ain't no damn blues on there. Interesting though. Real glad to get this reissue of it. Larry Young, organ player, Lawrence of Newark. A really fascinating character. There ought to be a documentary about this man. I don't know much about him, but his playing is very unique. He didn't follow Jimmy Smith or just the typical, Charles, not typical, but his voice on the organ is very singular and spiritual and intense. This is psychedelic, okay? Psychedelic jazz, all right? I guess the coffee's kicking in, and I feel better. I kind of thought to myself, if I talk, I'll increase my mood. That's why I say the things that I do. The mind is very powerful, the mind is a different thing than the brain. And the mind is powerful, and we can work with our minds. A lot of people think that their thoughts are out of their control and that their emotions, I can't do anything about it, here it comes again. That's just not completely true. You can work through it using your mind consciously. Okay? My mood is back to usual, to good, as a result of processing inside my thoughts, talking about them, and moving on. Okay? So that's what I want to share. Be stronger, be nicer to yourself, and dare to learn something beyond what we've been taught. Because a lot of what we've been taught in society has been so that we can be manipulated and used, and people, so people can make money off of us. Okay. I'm always going to say these things because it's real clear to me. Society is not about the advancement of humankind. It's about some greedy motherfuckers who got the advantage and they're keeping it. Fuck the rest of us is what they say. Fuck all y'all. That's what they say behind closed doors. I've actually heard it with my own ears when I was working as a lobbyist in the legislature. I picked this up, a reissue of Vangelis' Sex Power. It's some movie soundtrack. Don't know about the movie. I like Vangelis, and this is a good one. I like it when he's more experimental. I mean, he's good with melodies, beautiful melodies, and beautiful atmospheres. But I like when he just throws that out the window and just makes sound. And this has a lot of that on it. Good album, Sex Power. I was glad to get another Mahal Travelers album. This is a reissue. Japanese band, to me, groundbreakers. So groundbreaking, people still don't know about them. This is an interesting color vinyl, mustard. But this is their first album, July to date, July 15th, 1972. It's a live performance, and it's very weird, very formless. The closest I can come to comparing this to is Throbbing Gristle, and this is before Throbbing Gristle, okay? This is some heavy shit. And it's like, what I like about it is that I'm pretty sure that they knew that they're putting the audience through torture, through some sort of experience, not necessarily pleasant, but that was the idea. We're going to take you, so you're going to, this is going to do something to you, people. We're not here to entertain you. I'm very interested in that, always. Okay. So the second in this new series of Can Live albums just came out Friday. The first one was Stuttgart. Excuse me, this one is Brighton. 3 LP set, gold vinyl. I'll show it. They're doing a nice job. And I will express my peevedness with what I consider newbie collectors. Because newbie collectors, and I am going to be like this, ask some of the most banal, stupid fucking questions where you can tell that they're not interested in the music. And when I posted this in groups, I got several of those questions almost right away. How's the sound quality? Is it, is it as good as the first one? It's fucking people, if you don't know by now whether or not you like Can, just fucking shut up and go the hell away. That's how I feel about it. If you don't know whether or not you like what this band does by now, just shut the fuck up. Yeah, this is the band doing what they do, improvising. There's parts where Michael Caroli, for instance, is finding his way in the where the improvisation is gone. So he plays a bunch of fluffed shit notes, and then he finds his way. There's a whole side of here where it's really quiet. Almost no percussion. Go there. Go there. Go where it takes you. Okay, 2 more and then I'm out of here. This is a band from LA. I've had their second album since I was a kid. Colors. It's I could talk about that. I mean, there's so much I could talk about. Folks, I appreciate your requests, but I'm not here to do requests, okay? If what you're asking me about comes up in my thoughts, I'll do it. But here's what I know. You just have to just realize it's the truth. If you open up a spigot, it will become a dam. It'll become a waterfall. And I'm not here to do requests. And I've been through it before. One request leads to another and to another, and that's not what I'm here to do, okay? Colors, LA band. I've had their second album since I was a kid. Finally got a copy of this one. Really good pop psych. Carl Roedelius, bass player who was in Dereck and the Dominoes. He's in this band. This is really good. Last thing is Flying Lotus. Yeah, I get Flying Lotus. I do. I get it. I get what Brother's doing. Pattern, Grid World. I get it, and I love it. Okay, I've talked. I'll see you soon.